building a treehouse out of scraps. This is what building a treehouse is really all about. This is like back to the roots of what people think about when they think treehouse. This is some scrap wood. In this case, it's used deck wood off of I don't know, some dude tore it off a deck and sold it on Marketplace pretty cheap. So it's a bunch of pressure treated 2x6s, and this is not precise. This is not calculated. It's not even planned, really. We're just kind of winging it. It is gonna be strong, and it is gonna allow for the tree to grow, but it is gonna be really cool and really fun and really off the top of our heads. I'm gonna try to carry this thing up just like I did before. I'm gonna stick a screw in it and I'm gonna let it hang, and then we'll put the bolts in it later. Let's see if I can make this happen. Ooh, that's not biting. But I do have these and these, which could potentially work. I gotta get a level on it. So we've just gotta lower it a smidge. So now I've got this one. I'm trying to think, Nico. I'm wondering if this is why having a plan is actually a good idea. Then you're like, what if, what if, what if? I'm just wondering if like we do build it out right here, and then you come up right here, and then you walk over, I think would be cool.
So swinging, 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 so swinging. Loving you make the land more beautiful.
I think I'll sink it a little bit more. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I've got the bolts spaced out from the tree, right? Not too much that it's gonna bend the bolt, and this is a lightweight 2x6 platform, but it's spaced out enough that the tree has room to grow. And this is a very old pecan tree that is growing very, very, very slowly. But it will still have room to grow, about 1.5 inches, same up top and same on the other side. But this is a good method if you don't have fancy treehouse brackets. So just leave a little bit of a space, and if you want to, you can also cut a piece of pipe and put it behind between the bolt and the board, and then you can still cinch it down and the tree can just grow around the pipe.
Every bird, bee, and tree sing a song for us. We are ramblers of our own device. In the dunes and desert.
I should have done this from the beginning because I'm literally just eye level with the platform now, and we're still pretty high up. I mean, this is like 7.5 feet, so we're really at like 13 feet or so, I would say, to here. Just not sure where my cameraman went. He went that way and I haven't seen him since, but we've got the 2 of the corner supports up, we've got the yokes up, we have sheared 2 out of the 4 bolts with the 1,500-pound Milwaukee impact. So I would just say we need stronger bolts. That's ridiculous. The roof of the Tundra to easily work on the first story, which is great, but that's definitely not going to fly for the second story, which is, I would say, over 20 feet up, but that's going to be the fun part. So this is actually quite easy. Usually I have to crawl around, you know, stepping joist by joist 35 feet up in the air, and like you got to build your way out to the edge of the treehouse. But in this case, I just get to build around, build from the outside in. It's actually quite easy. The thing is about this kind of treehouse, or tree fort, I kind of call it a tree fort if it doesn't like have a house on it, is we're pretty much just eyeballing everything, and it's kind of fun. Like, it's not so serious and tense and oh my gosh, expensive stuff. It's scrap wood and literally eyeball it. I'm like, Nico, eyeball it. Do they look parallel? Does that look like it's about spaced evenly? Does that look, I mean, we are using a level, but we're pretty much just eyeballing everything, and it's fun because it's not so serious. Honestly, I like this even better than like the giant tree house to live in, because it's just really got that tree house vibe. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I know some of you guys out there are wondering what the heck is the deal with these hanger brackets. They don't allow for the tree to grow, right? Why do you have spacing everywhere else for the tree to grow if you're not gonna have any spacing there? Well, I'll explain. I've done this hanger bracket method before. In fact, I have some platforms up that have been supporting a treehouse with this method for 7 years. And what I've observed is that the tree kind of forms around this, since it's a narrow point pushing into the tree and not a wide surface area for it to push on. Now, that's also on poplar trees, which are a lot softer than pecan, which this is what this is. It's a pecan tree. So how will this method of supporting the corner braces with the hanger bracket, which can hold about 600 pounds, how will it work on a pecan tree? I don't know, but I will update you guys, so stay tuned. But it is a good, quick, easy, and safe way to support the corner of a treehouse. It works well. So these corner supports, as the name states, they support the corners of the treehouse. They really stabilize it. They're not completely necessary, but I always do them. Most of the load is being carried by these beams or these other 2x6s that have the bolts in them. It's not going anywhere. So the treehouse has a little bit of wobble, you may notice, and that's by design because it's spaced out from the tree. If it was tied up against the tree, it wouldn't have any wobble, but it's plenty solid. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points of contact to the tree. It is not connected to the branch, so the branch can move freely. It's just connected to the main trunk. So we got a few more joists to put up and some decking, and then this platform will be finished because we don't really do rails around here. That's kind of stupid. So this wood, some guy took it off a deck, threw it up on Marketplace for a really good price for pressure treated lumber, and now it's gonna be a treehouse. And part of the scrapwood treehouse vibe is just putting it up, eyeballing it a little bit, and then taking a screw, just marking it, eyeball it, mark it, cut it, force it to fit. Now for the first time, I should be able to go up here. All right. On the treehouse for the first time. Tree fort, I would call it. Did I mention we're building this whole thing without a hammer because for some reason someone took it out of my toolbox when I was at home? This is my favorite part of any treehouse build, is laying down the decking. It really starts to come together really quickly at this point. We're gonna start in the middle here to make sure that we can get it fit around the boards the way I want it. Then we'll work our way to the edges. Sure of this. Beautiful. Back around that way.
Oh my Macy! Come on, Macy! Get off him! Come on, Rocco! Marlo, stop knocking everybody over. Macy's on the first step. Macy!
Update. Hopefully you guys are following along because we've been kind of just working. We got most of the deck boards on. We still got a few more to cut. We're definitely not going to have enough for the next story, so that's probably going to be another video. There's so much potential. I'm overwhelmed with potential on how I should build this. Right here is a pretty cool spot though, next to these big old branches. Wouldn't it be cool if the ladder came up right there? Come on, Macy! Come on, Marlo! Morning, so it's the next day. We pretty much worked on this for like a lazy 7 hours yesterday. Definitely could have gotten the whole thing done, but filming slows down. I mean, it wasn't lazy, but filming slows down a lot. So I tried to adjust this bolt slightly and I sheared it, which is just ridiculous. So I was saving these bigger bolts for the upper platform, but now I have to use them down here because of these stupid, not so cheap, crappy bolts. All right, replaced it with a bigger bolt that definitely won't snap off, and we'll cut off the bottom corner here, and then the tree has some room to grow. All done with the first story. So if you made it this far in the video, you're probably a little more invested than the rest of the people. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information that maybe the other guys don't care about so much. So this is a pecan tree, right? And if you know anything about pecan trees, you know they have a tendency to drop enormous limbs. The limbs we're building on are pretty old. They've been here a pretty long time, but they could break. And if they do, they would probably shatter this tree fort, which is okay. Part of the reason we're building out of scrap wood, I really would not advise building something expensive or nice in or underneath a pecan tree because of their tendency to drop huge limbs. There's two reasons for this scrap wood treehouse. One, it's scrap wood, so it's really not a big deal if something happens to it. And two, it's 2x6s and they're really lightweight, right? So we're not adding a lot of weight to this tree, and this entire platform is supported off the main trunk. It is not on this branch. When it gets windy, this branch will have a couple inches to move all the way around without hitting the deck or anything else. When we build up there, it's gonna have to be supported on one point or at least have a dynamic joint on another point, which means it's allowed to float. So we're keeping it very lightweight because pecan wood is already extremely heavy, not including the very heavy pecans that are on the end of it. So that is part of the reason that this is the way it is. But it actually turned out really nice. Once we blew it off and cleaned it up, like it looks really good up here. Like I'm satisfied with it. We still got to build a ladder and we still got to build rails. So stay tuned for that, and also stay tuned because we're gonna build another story up there. One, maybe two, maybe five. I don't really know. They might not all be straight up, but like each one of these branches is big enough to support a platform by itself. So you could have like boom, boom, boom. It'll be really cool. So just stay tuned. If you made it this far into the video, thank you. And yeah, I mean, subscribe, I guess. Cool. Bye. Stay tuned because next we're going to build another story or two.